we begin to identify with these versions of ourselves. You know what I mean? We make little dolls of ourselves, and then we say, that's me. But what these identities that we're creating for ourselves, they come with a whole set of beliefs and stories that we make up about ourselves. All these if they start with like, well, I'm a kind of person who does this. Well, I do this and this. Well, that's just who I am. Is that just who you are, or is this who you have been all your life? And you're beginning to recognize that this isn't who you want to be anymore, right? And so then that's going to be a shift, and that's going to be uncomfortable. So instead of you being like, I don't identify with that anymore, you keep identifying with that thing because that's what's comfortable, because if I don't identify with this thing anymore, with this belief that I have about myself anymore, then I'm gonna have to go through a transitionary period that's gonna be so uncomfortable, because now I have to not know who I am. Now I have to go and not know who I am until I figure out who my next person will be. And not a lot of people do that. A lot of people just are like, well, that's who I am, and if you don't like it, fuck you. And you know what I mean? And there's some, and I still am there in many of my beliefs right now. But right now at this moment, I like align with them, and I like those beliefs, so I don't have a problem with them. You know what I mean? But yeah, so my old belief system was, well, I'm just somebody who has an amazing sense of humor, and I'm not somebody that's cringe, that's gonna make everything about me all the time, and make everybody uncomfortable with my pain. And so that kept me at a distance from people. That kept me at a really, really far distance from people, and it affected my acting, and that's what changed everything for me. You know what I mean? Because it was the one place where I felt like I could be anything, and I had my professor be like, well, you could be anything, but you're gonna have to push through this barrier. And it's basically saying you're gonna have to get naked right now. Get naked, And I really, really resisted that for a while. I really, really resisted to it. And I kept trying to make my acting this pushed, funny. I kept trying to be entertaining, okay? I kept trying to be entertaining instead of telling the truth. Now, I've always been a good actor, don't get me wrong. So in moments where a scene was easy for me, I could tell the truth easy. But in moments where I had to do a love scene, or I had to do a scene where something had to be really sad, boom. What do you mean? You know what I mean? And I'd make a dick joke, and it was fine. But it kept people at a distance, and now, and ever since I've dismantled that identity, that form of viewing myself, I have had way more fulfilling friendships, because the friendships that I had in high school were not fulfilling to my soul at all. I didn't connect with people actually. We trauma bonded. We went through a lot of shit together, and I have a lot of love for them. We had great times together. We laughed a lot. We partied a lot. We have good memories. But they never really understood me. But then it's how much of that is their fault and how much of that is my fault, because I refused to actually be seen. You know what I mean? So that's just one example. But the greater point is there's many phases to you have to destroy yourself in order to begin to heal. But that was the beginning part of me starting to go on this journey or path. The words journey and path piss me off so much. You know what I mean? They're so used by New Age hippies, and it's really annoying. But unfortunately, that's the word that we have to use, okay? This climb. It's the climb. Miley Cyrus. So, this is when things get really annoying and so exasperating, is that once you've identified, oh, this thing that I do, this pattern that I do over and over and over and over and over again, that's pissing me off, and it just keeps happening to me, and it's driving me insane, and this is why is my life always been like this, you know what I mean? Once you've identified that and you're like, I don't like this, I don't want it to keep, I'm done, I don't want this to keep happening to me, you have to it's kind of crazy, because then it's like you're deciding, I'm gonna go to war with myself. I'm going to go to war because that's how uncomfortable it will feel. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna go, that bitch. Imagine there's two people in you. Okay, that's what she said. Imagine that there's two. You know when you have the little angel and the little devil on your, those exist. Okay, and they're inside of you, and they're like, and you've identified that little devil, and you're like, oh fuck, like she's me, you know, and in a way that version of me has protected me from other things and taken me to these places and has been an important part of me for all these reasons. But now that I'm done with this, I have to murder that person. Oh no, I have to commit an atrocity, okay? And then you have to decide, I have to commit this atrocity and I have to fight this bitch, okay? So you gotta put that bitch in the ring, and then you gotta pummel her to the ground, okay? She's over. That's not happening anymore, okay? We're reaching the new level, okay? She's the final boss, okay? In Super Mario Brothers, she's Mario, all right? You know what I mean? She's not Mario. She's Bowser, okay? And you're Mario, and you're like, okay, bitch, you're done. You're done, okay? That's what I mean. You have to destroy her. You have to destroy her before you even really start to begin to think or start to even begin to be the newer version of yourself. And here's the uncomfortable truth of what doing that will be. You're not going to know who the fuck you are. You're not going to know who you are, and it's going to be so uncomfortable, and you're going to be in conversations with people, and you're going to be like, everything that I say makes no sense, and I don't even know if I align with what I'm saying, and I feel gross, and I feel icky, and you're gonna feel so disgusting. Like you're gonna feel like you just murdered something. Like, have you ever like squished a bug? You know what I mean? Have you ever like, the other day, oh my god, bitch, the other day I like stepped on a snail, and I felt so disgusting. I felt disgusted with myself, okay? Even though it was an accident, okay? Have you ever felt that? That's how you're going to feel, because you have to commit a murder of yourself. And you're going to feel icky because you've always been that person, and she's gone now. Or maybe she's not gone and she's half alive, and every day you have to choke her a little bit more until the life finally leaves her body. You know what I mean? This is all metaphorically, but this is all a metaphor. This is maybe a crazy metaphor to go about things, but it's almost like this meditative state that you have to be in while you go into this transitionary period of, I'm gonna be that person over there, but before I can ever be over there and have a relationship with that person, I gotta cut this bitch off. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's really uncomfortable, and it was really uncomfortable for me to learn to stop laughing at everything and just be like, yeah, this happened, and it sucks, and I hate it, and I'm not happy that this happened to me, and I feel sorry for myself. You know what I mean? Those are uncomfortable things to say, and the worst part about it is they're uncomfortable for other people, for you to say without a sense of humor, because the second you say, this happened to me, it's really uncomfortable when people go, I'm so sorry. You know, I'm so sorry that happened to you. A regular old me from like when I was 15, she'd go, can you shut the fuck up? You're so annoying. You know what I mean? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. It was funny. And I still do that sometimes, because it still makes me, sometimes some of my shit still makes me uncomfortable, and that's okay. You know what I mean? It's not linear. Now, before I go, you were probably asking yourself, okay, how do I even begin to commit this murder of my inner self? Okay, it's not, it's violent in like a loving way, you know what I mean? It's kind of like this meditation that you did. Don't, I'm not saying you have to go meditate, because there's steps to it, and I think a lot of people think that you can just start meditating, and they forget that some people have fucking PTSD or CPTSD or ADHD or all these things, and there's a lot of steps that you have to take before you even start to meditate, whatever. Okay, you'll get there. If you're not there yet, that's fine. But it's meditative in the sense of, if you have it in your mind, this one thing is something I want to change, and you keep that in your noggin throughout the day, every day, you will change. You will. And you're gonna go and you're gonna seek out, okay, how can I implement this change that I want to do? You're gonna go seek out books, you're gonna go seek songs, you're gonna go seek people who might have already achieved that, or aren't struggling with that anymore, or never did, right? Or you're gonna go look at documentaries and things, like, you're gonna go searching for it, because it's gonna be on your mind, and you're gonna start looking for it, and because you're looking for it, you're gonna find it. Okay, you're gonna start finding that thing that you want to change, whatever it may be. You're gonna start to find that thing. Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's kind of meditative, and that's how the murder starts to happen. I don't know why I'm going with a murder analogy, but you know what I mean. That's, you start to drown that. You're drowning something out with what you're inviting in, if that makes any sense at all. And you can start by meditation, but I think that's a separate video for a different day. It was very hard for me to start to become somebody that meditates, and there's a lot of steps that I had to take, because I'm an overthinker, and I have intrusive thoughts, okay? I had intrusive thoughts. You can overcome it. That's a whole different video, but anyway. And you have to be so specific about what it is that you want to change, because you're not going to heal your entire self. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to take you years to heal yourself completely. You can't do that like this, right? So you got to go in phases, okay? So you got to decide, what phase am I in right now, and what phase am I going to focus on changing now, until that becomes a habit, and that becomes easy, and then you can move on to the next thing. You know, it's levels. Like, you're like, life is a video game, and you're just going through the levels of things until you reach the top. Yeah, so pick a thing that's holding you back, focus on it, and that's a tense muscle, and you gotta massage it every day until it's no longer tense anymore, and you can move to another part of the body or another part of the soul. Okay, I think now I said everything I needed to say. All right, bye.